There is also a village just south of Phnom Penh named Siem Reap. Siem Reap is the capital city of Siem Reap Province in northwestern Cambodia, and a popular resort town as the gateway to Angkor region. Siem Reap has colonial and Chinese-style architecture in the Old French Quarter and around the Old Market. In the city, there are museums, traditional Apsara dance performances, a Cambodian cultural village, souvenir and handicraft shops, silk farms, rice paddies in the countryside, fishing villages and a bird sanctuary near the Tonle Sap Lake. Siem Reap today, being a popular tourist destination, has a large number of hotels, resorts, restaurants and businesses closely related to tourism. This is much owed to its proximity to the Angkor temples, the most popular tourist attraction in Cambodia. History. The name Siem Reap can be translated to mean defeat of Siam, and is commonly taken as a reference to an incident in the centuries-old conflict between the Siamese and Khmer kingdoms, although this is probably apocryphal. According to oral tradition, King Angkor had named the town Siem Reap, meaning the defeat of Siam, after he repulsed an army sent to invade Cambodia by the Thai king Maha Chakravarti in 1549. However, scholars consider this derivation to be simply a modern folk etymology, and maintain that the actual origin of the name is unknown. The traditional tale claims that King Angkor of Cambodia tried to assert greater independence from Siam, which was then going through internal struggles. The Siamese king Cherichar had been poisoned by his concubine, Lady Sri Sudachan, who had committed adultery with a commoner, Warawong Satirat, while the king was away leading a campaign against the kingdom of Chiang Mai. Sudachan then placed her lover on the throne. The Thai nobility lured them outside the city on a royal procession by barge to inspect a newly discovered white elephant. After killing the usurper, along with Sudachan and the newly born daughter, they invited Prince Thunraja to leave the monkhood and assume the throne as King Maha Chakravarti. With the Thais distracted by their internal problems, King Angkor decided the time was right to attack. He seized the Siamese city of Prachin Buri in 1549, sacking the city and making slaves of its inhabitants. Only then did he learn that the succession had been settled and that Maha Chakravarti was the new ruler. Angkor immediately retreated to Cambodia, taking his captives with him. King Maha Chakravarti was furious over the unprovoked attack, but Burma had also chosen to invade through the Three Pagodas Pass. The Burmese army posed a much more serious threat as it captured Kanchanaburi and Suphanburi. It then appeared before Ayutthaya itself. The Thai army managed to defeat the Burmese, who quickly retreated through the pass. Maha Chakravarti's thoughts then turned to Cambodia. Not only had Angkor attacked and looted Prachin Buri, turning its people into slaves, but he also refused to give Maha Chakravarti a white elephant he had requested, rejecting even this token of submission to Siam. Maha Chakravarti ordered Prince Song, the governor of Sawankalok, to lead an expedition to punish Angkor and recover the Thai captives. Rival armies met, and Angkor killed Prince Song with a lucky musket shot from elephant back. The leaderless Thai army fled, and Angkor allegedly captured more than 10,000 Siamese soldiers. To celebrate his great victory, King Angkor supposedly named the battleground Siem Reap, meaning the total defeat of Siam. In reality, surviving historic sources make this folktale appear very unlikely, since they date the decline of the Angkor kingdom to more than a century before this, when a military expedition from Ayutthaya captured and sacked Angkor Wat, which began a long period of vassal rule over Cambodia. The 1431 capture coincided with the decline of Angkor, though the reasons behind its abandonment are not clear. They may have included environmental changes and failings in the Khmer infrastructure. For the 16th to the 19th centuries, infighting among the Khmer nobility led to periodic intervention and domination by both of Cambodia's more powerful neighbors Vietnam and Siam. Siem Reap, along with Battambang and Siphon, major cities in the northwest of Cambodia, was under Siamese administration, and the provinces were collectively known as Inner Cambodia from 1795 until 1907, when they were ceded to French Indochina. In fact, during the 18th century, under the rule of the Ayutthaya Kingdom, it was known as Nakhon Siam, not as Siam's defeat. Rediscovery of Angkor. Siem Reap was little more than a village when French explorers such as Henry Moffat rediscovered Angkor in the 19th century. However, European visitors had visited the temple ruins much earlier, including Antonio de Armadilena in 1586. In 1901, the École Française d'Extrême Orient began a long association with Angkor by funding an expedition into Siam to the Bayon. The EFEO took responsibility for clearing and restoring the whole site. In the same year, the first Western tourists arrived in Angkor, a total of about 200 in just 3 months. Angkor had been rescued from the jungle and was assuming its place in the modern world. With the acquisition of Angkor by the French in 1907 following a Franco-Siamese treaty, Siem Reap began to grow. The Grand Hotel d'Angkor opened in 1929 and the temples of Angkor became one of Asia's leading draws until the late 1960s, when civil war kept them away. In 1975, the population of Siem Reap, like all other Cambodian cities and towns, was driven into the countryside by the communist Khmer Rouge. Siem Reap's recent history is colored by the horror of the brutal Khmer Rouge regime. Since Pol Pot's death in 1998, however, relative stability and a rejuvenated tourist industry have revived the city and province. Siem Reap now serves as a small gateway town to the World Heritage Site of Angkor Wat. It is a vibrant town with modern hotels and restaurants, still managing to preserve much of its culture and traditions. Siem Reap ranked 4th in the world's best cities of travel and leisure survey in 2014. The Wat and the river. The town is a cluster of small villages along the Siem Reap River. These villages were originally developed around Buddhist pagodas which are almost evenly spaced along the river from Wat Phra and Khao Siai in the north to Wat Phnom Krom in the south, where the Siem Reap River meets the Great Tonle Sap Lake. The main town is concentrated around Saivada Street and the Pasar Chaz area, where there are old colonial buildings, shopping and commercial districts. The Wat Bo area is now full of guest houses and restaurants, while the Pasar Leu area is often crowded with jewelry and handicraft shops, selling such items as rubies and wood carving. Other fast-developing areas of the airport road and main road to Angkor, where a number of large hotels and resorts can be found. Economy. Tourism is a very important aspect of the economy of Siem Reap. It was estimated in 2010 that over 50% of jobs in the town were related to the tourism industry. The city has seen a massive increase in tourist trade in the couple of decades after the end of the Khmer Rouge era, and businesses centered on tourism have flourished due to the tourism boom. Visitor numbers were negligible in the mid-1990s, but by 2004, over 500,000 foreign visitors had arrived in the Siem Reap province that year, approximately 50% of all foreign tourists in Cambodia. By 2012, tourist number had reached over 2 million. A large number of hotels have sprung up in the city. These range from 5-star hotels and chic resorts to hundreds of budget guest houses. Most tourists come to Siem Reap to visit the Angkor Wat, Angkor Thom, and other Angkor ruins. There are also many shopping opportunities around the Apsara Chaz area, while the nightlife is often vibrant with a number of Western-styled pubs and bars. There are also a large number of NGOs and other not-for-profits that operate in and around Siem Reap and play a vital role in the economy, as well as helping to develop it for the future. Thousands of expatriates call the city home and also significantly impact the economy. Attractions. Angkor Wat is the central feature of the Angkor UNESCO World Heritage Site, containing the magnificent remains of the Khmer civilization. Angkor Wat's rising series of 5 towers culminates in an impressive central tower that symbolizes mythical Mount Meru. Thousands of feet of wall space are covered with intricate carving depicting scenes from Hindu mythology. The most important are the carved bas-reliefs of the Hindu narratives. They tell a story about gods fighting demons in order to reclaim order, which can only be achieved by recovering the elixir of life known as Amrita. The gods and demons must work together to release it and then battle to attain it. Angkor Thom is an inner royal city built by the end of the 12th century and is renowned for its temples, in particular the Bayon. Other notable sites are Bafon, Firemanakas, the Terrace of the Elephants and the Terrace of the Leper King. The city can be accessed through 5 city gates, one on each cardinal point, and the Victory Gate on the eastern wall. Other temples. A number of significant temples are dotted around Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom within the Angkor Archaeological Park, including Ta Prohm, Preah Khan, Banteay Kdean, Phnom Bakang, Ta Keo, Ta Som, East Mebane, Pre Rup and Neak Peen. These temples may be visited along the Grand Circuit of the Small Circuit routes. Other sites of the Roluas group of temples located to the east of Siem Reap. The Cambodia Landmine Museum and Relief Center. The Landmine Museum offers tourists and Cambodians the chance to see landmines up close, understand how they work, and what they can do to help rid Cambodia and the world of the continuing threat. It is located approximately 25 kilometers north of Siem Reap, just 7 kilometers south of the Banteay Sri Temple complex in Angkor National Park. On the way to the museum there are quaint countryside villages, rice paddies and wide views of locals working the fields, as well as local handicrafts outside the hustle and bustle of town. Quote, Some 24 at-risk Khmer children are educated and live, along with staff, at the relief center located on the museum property. The organization has plans for building a farm behind the center sometime in 2016. War Museum Cambodia. The War Museum Cambodia covers the last 3 decades of the 20th century when the Khmer Rouge was active in Cambodia. There is a vast array of vehicles, artillery, weaponry, land mines and equipment on display. The museum is making use of guides who are war veterans who fought for the Cambodian Army, the Khmer Rouge of the Vietnamese Army. Angkor National Museum. Opened on the 12th of November 2007, the Angkor National Museum offers visitors a better understanding of the area's archaeological treasures. The golden era of the Khmer Kingdom is presented, including the use of state-of-the-art multimedia technology. The museum covers Khmer history, civilization, and cultural heritage in 8 galleries. Markets. The Old Market Apsara Chaz is located between Pub Street and the Siem Reap River, and offers a mixture of souvenirs for tourists and a variety of food produce and other items meant for the locals. Supported by the Shintamani Foundation in order to create jobs. The Made in Cambodia Market is a night market in Siem Reap Reap, where all the products sold should be made in Cambodia. The market hosts daily shows and other animation. Other markets in Siem Reap include the Angkor Night Market, which is located off Saivotha Street, Phsar Candle located at Saivotha Street, which mainly caters to tourists, and Phsar Leu, which is located further away along National Road 6 but is the biggest market of Siem Reap used by the locals. Artisans Angkor is a semi-public company founded in 1992 which aims to revive traditional Khmer craftsmanship and provide employment for rural artisans. It is also associated with a silk farm where visitors may learn about sericulture and weaving. It also participates in the restoration of historical Angkor sites by repairing and replacing damaged sculptures. Cambodian Cultural Village. Opened on the 24th of September 2003, the Cambodian Cultural Village assembles all the miniatures of famous historical buildings and structures of Cambodia. There are 11 unique villages, which represent different culture or heritages, local customs and characteristics of 21 multi-races. Notable sites near Siem Reap. A number of notable sites further away from Siem Reap are also accessible from the town. Phnom Kulen. The Phnom Kulen National Park is about 48 kilometers from Siem Reap and contains a number of attractions such as its 2 waterfalls and the KBL Speens River of 1,000 Lingas. Floating villages. There are 3 floating villages around Siem Reap: Kampong Kliang, Kampong Fluk, Chong Nis, with Kampong Kliang considered the most authentic. Tonle Sap. The Tonle Sap Khmer for vast body of fresh water, and more commonly translated as Great Lake, is a combined lake and river system of major importance to Cambodia. It is located in the heart of Cambodia, about 30 minutes south of downtown Siem Reap, and has many attractions. The area around the Tonle Sap, including the province of Siem Reap, is part of the Tonle Sap Biosphere Reserve. Phnom Dei. Phnom Dei is a hill near Siem Reap. Banti Srei. Banti Srei is a 10th-century temple located about 30 kilometers northeast of Siem Reap. It is notable for its fine, intricate decorative carvings on rose-pink sandstone. Local specialty: rice wine. Traditionally, rice wine may be made by the Cambodian households of villages for their own consumption. Some are also produced commercially or inspired by this tradition. An example is the Sombai-infused Cambodian liqueur produced in Siem Reap. This beverage takes inspiration from the Sraa tram that Cambodians drink traditionally and the infused rums from the islands. The particularity of the bottles of Sombai is that they are hand-painted, making it attractive to tourists visiting Cambodia. The workshop and its tasting parlor, installed in a traditional Khmer wooden house, has become a tourist attraction in town. Climate. According to the Köppen climate classification, Siem Reap features a tropical wet and dry climate. The city is generally hot throughout the course of the year, with average high temperatures never falling below 30 C in any month. Siem Reap has a relatively lengthy wet season which starts in April and ends in November. The dry season covers the remaining 4 months. The city averages approximately 1,500 millimeters of rainfall per year. Transportation. The town is 7 kilometers from the Siem Reap Angkor International Airport. Siem Reap is accessible by direct flights from many Asian cities, and by land from Phnom Penh and the Thai border. It's also accessible by boat and bus from Phnom Penh and Battambang. A new airport is planned 60 kilometers from Siem Reap. It is possible to get from Bangkok to Siem Reap via Phoi Phet. The road from Phoi Phet to Siem Reap is newly paved and sealed as of 2013. If travelers take a taxi from Bangkok to Phoi Phet and from Phoi Phet to Siem Reap, It is possible to complete the whole journey in 6 to 10 hours, depending on border crossing times. This journey is also possible by bus and minibus. The tickets can be bought online via the official Natcon website. Getting to Siem Reap from Bangkok is also possible by train via the Aranyaprathet station to the border with Cambodia and later via shared minibuses or taxis to Siem Reap. Sister cities: Bagan, Myanmar; Fontainebleau, France, since the 11th of June 2000. Sankt Goarth, Germany, since the 13th of May 2015. Kota, Aichi, Japan,